Welcome, everybody, to round 2 coverage of the 2019 Ledgestone Insurance Open presented by Discraft, the world leader in disc sports. I'm Brian Earhart, joined here by Kevin Jones. How's it going, Kev?
Really good, Brian. Hello, everybody, and I'm really excited for round 2 coverage. We got a little bit better weather today, so people are going to be throwing some cleaner shots. They should have more opportunities to make putts and stuff, and here's our card.
Yeah, we have Emerson Keith, Drew Gibson, Andrew Marwede from Michigan, and Chandler Fry from Washington. Pretty solid set of players here, and especially, like you said, going into better weather, we should see some better scoring opportunities. So what do we have for hole 1?
Yeah, so hole 1, we've got a very signature hole all the way over the water. You're going to see the top level of disc golfers throw a nice overstable driver on a very flat angle or maybe even a slight Anheuser angle, just knowing that they won't turn it over too much, because once you turn it over too much, then you bring in the OB on the backside.
Absolutely, and we're going to have Emerson stepping up.
But worst case scenario is OB in the water, because that's a guaranteed 5.
Absolutely.
Emerson Keith is a bomber. He's got an entire game, backhand, forehand, all the funky shots on top of that.
And like you said, he just threw a straight-up flat stall shot over the water, and especially if you have enough acceleration to throw that, that's the way to go here, and it looks like he's in a perfect position for that second shot.
Yeah, that's a beautiful start to the day for Emerson.
And with Drew here, I mean, the hole measures out at 633 feet, but this is definitely a hole if Drew gets a hold of one, especially with the slight tailwind that we had off the tee. So he could probably definitely put this inside circle too.
Yeah, I would agree. There's only a few people that can do that, and Drew would be one of them. You think they're dealing with a tailwind right now? It does look like
a little bit tail.
Yeah.
As you can see, he's trying to fight that tailwind and yank over on it a little bit, but that's definitely a really overstable disc that he just threw.
Yeah, that was so money too. But it really was. That's at least probably circle 2, honestly. Andrew Marwede.
This is a guy that actually hasn't been playing disc golf tournaments for that long, but got good extremely fast. He actually signed on to play college basketball a little bit ago, so he's a fantastic athlete and is obviously scoring up with the best of them.
That's really cool to hear. Yeah, he's definitely been shooting really well lately. He's got tons of game. Now that looks good. I think it's hooking up. He'll probably be okay. I could be wrong if it's not overstable enough. Oh, it did that. I remember that. I was standing right there, actually. That is a foot safe. He was actually touching the line, but he was definitely safe there. That's a good shot.
Oh, yeah, and we have Chandler Fry stepping up, a new signee to Discraft. He'll be throwing a force here, probably on that same flex line that we just saw. Yep, a little bit of turnover, drift to the right. And as long as it comes back.
Yeah, it should be just fine. Once you see it coming back, you're going to love it.
And I really love holes that are designed to make the players throw 2 different angles. Like a flex shot, I think it's a fantastic opening shot shape to make these players throw.
Yeah, it's just simply more difficult. Going standstill. I wonder if that was forced by the tint there. That's going to be a little bit short, about 30 feet, 33 feet, and uphill putt, but I think he'll like it. The wind shouldn't be too dangerous. It should be a nice, helpful wind to drop the disc into the basket.
We got Chandler go with a Pro D zone. He likes them just because they land a little bit softer and fly a tiny bit straighter than a standard zone.
That's cool. Would it be similar to the Jawbreaker zone?
Absolutely. And he just threw it dead flat, and as you can see, it landed nice and softly next to the basket.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think he's playing the wind there, letting the wind just slap the disc straight down.
Exactly.
Emerson.
A little bit of a yank job there, but
definitely a slightly late release, but all he's trying to do is not go over that hill because that's when trouble comes into play.
Yeah, definitely within his range.
Yeah.
And like we said, Drew Gibson inside the circle too.
I thought so. What a bomb. Like, that was a super overstable disc, too.
Extremely overstable. And like you just said, that's the danger zone. When you go down that hill, that's when you're faced with a little bit of a headwind coming up that hill, and any kind of uphill headwind putt is extremely daunting.
Absolutely. This putt that Andrew's about to face is going to be very difficult. Emerson, with a left to right wind here, he needs to put it high and in the middle of the basket and let it just drop straight in. It's a good putt.
Gorgeous putt. Always nice to start out this round with a birdie, especially taking advantage of the good conditions that we had today.
Nice putt from Andrew right there. You cannot take that for granted. That's an awesome putt with a right to left.
Oh, yeah.
Very delicate.
Chandler taps in his birdie, and then Drew, after probably the easiest possible upshot you could have, little jump putt layup, he'll take his birdie as well.
Yeah, it's a very stress-free start for Drew.
And after hole 1, we have 3 birdies and a par, not too shabby. We're going to move into hole number 2, which again, I've said this previously, is one of my favorite par 4s on the course.
Yeah, hole 2 is a very difficult hole. There's tons of danger. If you don't get off the tee right here, you're going to be faced with plenty of decisions. And also, you can get in some big trouble if you try to do too much on this hole. So ideally, I'm gonna like to see people do a nice flat forehand where they just push straight real far and then get right at the end. We also see some rollers and some backhands too. The backhand is much more touchy though. Emerson has a very good flick.
As long as that stays up.
The grass will not let that happen.
And as you can see with all the rain we've had, I've been calling it Velcro grass all week. It really, the skips are almost non-existent, so you have to be pretty pinpoint off the tee with where you place those shots. Drew going with a rock, I would assume. And that's part of the reason I love this hole. We see the players attacking it so many different ways. It looks like just a basic gap, but the way the corner kind of presents itself, you see a lot of players trying to position themselves for their next shot.
Definitely.
And Buzz, Chandler's been throwing that Buzz all year.
Sweet shot.
And he'll probably have that same exact shot for his second shot to the green.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that either. So everybody getting up the fairway at least a little bit. Emerson faced with the decision here. This is a very, very tight shot. So he's letting it get a little right. As long as it doesn't skip, he'll be okay.
And you can tell he really wanted to play the high side of the basket. He probably wanted to throw a little flatter, a little bit lower, and then maybe play 25 feet right.
Yeah, I think that's what he was thinking there. Here's Andy. Andrew does go by Andy sometimes, I have learned.
And another unfortunate saw-off forehand and ended up going out of bounds on that one.
It's just going to be a tough spot for him. I think he's going to be behind a tree now, and this is where this hole can bite you. He's looking at a 5, if you ask me. This is very good. Catch that thick grass.
And I think he might have stayed up. Yes, he did.
He will get a meter from the rock line. He's going to be looking at another birdie. Chandler's in a pretty good spot here. It's still going to take a very, very well-played shot, though. He's thrown overstable. He's not afraid of the skip because of the thick grass. Unfortunately, didn't get it up high enough, probably because of some fear of that right there.
Chandler had talked to me about that putt. He actually was totally running it. He said his spin putt was feeling fantastic, and he just kind of found himself in the moment and unfortunately went out of bounds there.
I like it. I mean, that was OB by less than a foot probably. If it would have just got down a little bit quicker, he'd be safe, dropping in as 4.
Emerson with kind of a tough lie here. And he was running that for sure. He definitely, with his spin putt, it's easier to throw lower ceiling putts.
Yeah, Emerson is a really aggressive player, but intelligently aggressive, I would say.
Absolutely.
Drew, high chains, count it.
Backhand for the birdie. I think that's a fantastic play on this hole.
That's really hard to do. Like
very challenging.
Piping a mid-range up to somewhere where you can have a comfortable upshot onto this hole is very tough. I prefer the forehand. I feel like I can get up fairway much further, but Drew has a really good backhand turnover, and he showed it off there.
And this hole kind of showing its teeth here as we see a couple of bogeys presenting themselves. Chandler trying to fish his disc out of the water.
Yeah, he's going to need it. That's his putter.
And after 2 bogeys, a birdie and a par, we're going to move into the 3rd hole, Mr. Kevin.
Hole 3 is a little bit over 250 feet, I believe. Out of bounds on the whole left side. There are 3 options here. I would say there's a sidearm route that has an initial gap that if you hit, you can get up the fairway, at least have some kind of putt. There's the middle gap that's very, very dangerous because most people throw backhand through there. So if they hit a tree and kick anything to the left, it probably is going to go OB. And then there's a sneaky hyzer route that's a little bit safer and just a sweet route too. So Drew throwing rock.
This is one of his favorite shots, and he's been throwing this rock for a little while. But looks like he might have caught a last tree.
Maybe.
Couldn't quite see that with the basket in the way, but definitely came up short.
Emerson hitting the gap right here. Now he just...
A little bit more flex than he probably wanted.
Oh, definitely. That was so wide. Wow.
Wow.
That is much wider than Emerson is looking for. He went around that group of trees over OB the whole way. Fortunately, getting into the circle. That's a really good shot.
And that is exactly
That's another great...
how he chalked it up, I would assume. Nice flat buzz shot, and he's about 10 feet from the basket there.
Yeah, that's an awesome shot from Chandler right there. Similar to Drew's, but a little bit more height on it.
And as you can see, like, there's definitely some wind out there too. So trying to hit a tunnel shot, you know, with wind presenting itself out the gap. As you can see, Andrew was trying to flip up a driver on a forehand, and
oh, there's a lot of room over there, but he just found the OB. Can he save a crazy three? Whew.
he definitely was trying.
Just in front. I believe that these guys are facing a slight headwind from where Drew is right here. Definitely slight headwind. He tried to float it up there. Nothing doing, but he's not too angry because that putt could have went way past. Yes, that's cash for Emerson all day. Very nice birdie.
Especially after getting a couple of nice, I wouldn't call them kicks, but definitely sneaking through some of the trees on the left side. It's nice to capitalize on that.
Yeah, he got a little sneaky, but I think his play there is to hit the gap and let whatever happens happens.
There's enough trees on the whole fairway where it really doesn't matter. You just got to hit your line and see what happens. But Chandler also, after puring the line, takes his birdie, and Drew will tap in the par.
Yeah.
Two birdies, a par, and a bogey. Looks like Drew's at neg 2. We got Emerson at neg 2. Chandler's still sitting there at neg 1, and then it looks like Andrew has a little bit of catching up to do here, but definitely some birdies coming up. Hole 4, one of the more challenging birdies, I'd say, in the course.
Yeah, the drone is flying down the right side of the fairway, which we might see people attack today, but only because there's a headwind, especially once you go crest the hill. Once you crest the hill, you're going to be feeling strong headwind. Might even flip your disc up late in the shot. So let's see what everybody's doing here. That's piped down the left side. I really like that. Goodness.
Wow.
Have speed and height. To circle's edge. Quality shot from Emerson. This hole is very dangerous. If you kick left or if you throw left, you will be scrambling very hard for your par.
Chandler throwing the new Onyx from Discraft.
Needs some finish is what it needs.
And with the headwind that you had just talked about, it looks like it just took him a little bit too straight. I saw what he was trying to do.
Definitely. I mean, that was just barely off. He might have even hit the tree that if he wouldn't have hit, he could have possibly skipped and bounced. But still, that's going to be OB and likely a 4 on this elevated basket.
It looks like Drew is potentially just trying to throw a safe hyzer down the right side, but it looks like he kicked that middle tree that I've seen so many shots hit already.
Yeah, that looked like a very timid shot from Drew.
And again, this is the same kind of line that Emerson threw. The fact that they're trusting a hyzer angle on that left gap towards the jail is extremely confident. It's a super high-level shot, and being able to flip the disc up late like that is fantastic.
Yeah, that gives him a nice putt. Man, that was about a foot high, and that's going to cost him 30 feet. Now he's going to have a tailwind left to right for his par. Chandler with a good-looking layup. A little bit of work left. Yeah, Andy's got a gap here, but this is downhill. This is a very dangerous putt into a headwind.
Whoa. All right.
I like it. I like it. That was a nice soft run, but still got some good basket. This is a big putt for Drew to stay at 2 down. Nice.
Awesome.
2 down through 4 is great. Now he's heading into the baseball field hole and looking to score. Ooh.
After a gorgeous hyzer flip down the left gap, Emerson capitalizes on the birdie putt. Chandler will unfortunately have to take his bogey and move on, but again, holes 2, 3, and 4 definitely have some teeth, and it's not, it's not a surprise to see some big numbers come out here.
Yeah, being around 2 under through 4 is setting yourself up for a really great round. So the baseball field hole that we're about to see after our commercial break is going to be a very crucial hole. It'll be a 2-stroke swing hole, so it's going to be exciting.
My name's Cody Britton, and it's a hot one out here, which is perfect because we're going to be talking about the heat. One of the great things about the heat is it gives any skill level player the ability to get it up to speed, to get tremendous amounts of glide. The rim fits well in anyone's hand. So one of the things that I love about this disc is how easily I can throw a consistent Anheuser. You can even use it to throw manicured shots through the woods. It's just an all-around phenomenal disc. Check out the heat for yourself today. You can pick one up at discraft.com or your local retailer.
Moving into hole number 5, the infamous baseball field hole, 476-foot par 3. OB obviously in the baseball field if you do not clear the fence. We also have OB behind if your hyzer happens to flip up and go too long. A lot of the power righties are going to be throwing a pure hyzer at this. But if the wind does pick up, a lot of players are trying to opt for a wide hyzer to play for a safe 3. This is definitely one of the harder holes in the course.
Yeah, actually, this is the second hardest hole on the course because it's an island hole. So any shot like this one that's heading OB is going to have to go to a very difficult island. Yeah, so they definitely are dealing with a headwind out here. Emerson just didn't give that one enough commitment and hyzer, and that's going to cost him a couple strokes.
And it looks like Drew's pulling out the same disc he threw on his tee shot on 1.
Is he? It very well could be. It looks about as stable. Drew wouldn't surprise me if he threw like a Firebird on this hole.
You know what? It actually looks like a Firebird. I'm not sure if it was the same white disc that he threw before because he definitely didn't look like he was trying to go for the basket there.
That would totally be a disc that Drew would throw here, which is not human.
Yeah, we're not seeing a lot of players on this this card go for the basket, and like you said, it's probably due to the fact that we have a little bit more wind than usual here.
It definitely is. They're probably dealing with some kind of headwind. Yeah, they're throwing very overstable. Chandler just threw a flat shot really hard, so that disc is extremely overstable.
That was a old run TI Force, and they're notorious for being extremely overstable.
Nice. So here's the drop zone. This is big. If Emerson, can get up and down, he's going to save a 4, but that's hard. He's going to find himself about 35 feet, I think.
And if that headwind is still presenting itself, it's still going to be a tester putt for him.
That's very true. 35-foot headwind putt. Chandler making do with this hole. That's very nice. Taking a par, moving on.
And with how much over par this hole averaged, it's totally fine taking a 3 at this point.
Yeah, it's strokes on folks. Drew's going to lay up and be fine with his 3 also. So Emerson's going to be faced with a little step putt here.
Ooh, and he loves the jump putt.
Yeah, I think he's happy. I think he's just happy to take a 3 on this hole.
Oh, yeah.
So he does step it. Oh, my goodness, and high left, and these baskets are not going to catch that. They will catch on the pole every time, but I've noticed that high left, high right are sometimes sketchy.
They want you to hit the strong side of the basket for sure.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all.
Not at all. After a decent showing from 3 of the players here, it looks like a double bogey for Emerson, unfortunately. And that was the second hardest hole in the course. We actually now move straight into the hardest hole, if I'm not mistaken.
You're exactly right, Brian, and it's the hardest hole because there's OB the entire way, but also this hole is extremely long. So it's going to take, first of all, if you want to get a birdie, you're going to need to throw to about that out of bounds graphic right there. And that's going to take a very, very accurate shot. So you're going to be messing with OB right side, possibly OB left side even.
They're really trying to play a hyzer to the corner of the OB. As the OB starts to elbow out, you want to be right about there if you want any chance at a birdie. But a lot of players with how high over par this averaged, taking a par in this has been fantastic and definitely taking strokes in the field.
Yeah, that was a really high shot from Drew. Luckily, it got down in time. Also, these guys are facing a big-time headwind right now. All they're really wanting to do is get this disc in play. Let's get up the fairway. I guarantee you nobody on this card except for maybe Drew is thinking 3. I know I definitely wasn't yesterday.
No, and a 4 felt fantastic for sure. And Chandler definitely not even trying to chance the OB and play for the birdie. He's throwing that TI force and bounds.
Quality shot.
I could see probably an identical shot on the second shot.
There's a well-committed hyzer from Emerson.
Popping up a little bit, though. That's going to sit down.
Oh, it has so much glide.
So there's a little left, and he's definitely not going to have a shot at the birdie. But again, 4 is going to be just fine here. With, as you can see, the wind is whipping.
Yeah, so now we have a couple of birdhouses to aim for.
Oh, man. That is a huge sidearm from Andrew.
Yeah, it is. That's an awesome shot. Past the birdhouse, he's going to be probably putter-up shot.
It's exactly what you're looking for, especially with with how daunting that green is as well.
Yes.
And like I said, that TI force came out again, but it looks like he kind of sawed it off.
No problem there, right by the birdhouse, and that's where I want to be in too, honestly. If I can land by that birdhouse, it's pretty routine up and down. I don't know about these guys, but for my card during this round, we had an extreme wind on that tee shot. Good shot from Emerson right there. But once we got along this tree line on the upshot, I didn't feel as much wind.
It definitely calmed down.
Yeah, so
sure.
The upshot is going to be a little bit more calm. Drew does not care.
That is a smash. If the grass gives him a skip.
Not today.
Not today.
That's unfortunate.
And that's the daunting thing about this hole. Now you're still having to throw from pretty much the same spot.
Yeah, and he's going to go for it again. He is probably 40 to 50 feet closer.
And that's got to keep coming.
Is that a Firebird? It's a...
I think it is. I think it is a Firebird, and he luckily put that one in bounds, but still outside of circle 1 it looked like. Chandler going drone, I believe.
Oh.
Wow. And the Velcro grass did not help him out there.
No. I will say that's a golf shot from Chandler. He knows that if he's going to miss, he needs to miss left. He's going to drop in a 5. So that will cost him a total of 1 stroke. Rather than 2 if you throw OB right.
Exactly.
Just like this. Now, Emerson has a chance for his par, but it's going to be a tough little putt. A little short from Drew. And I highly expect Emerson to cash this in. He was just off on his last jump putt, and he is super streaky with these. Once he makes one, they just come like rain. Just outside the circle. Should be a really comfortable distance for him. He's just going to step it right in there. Oh,
luckily,
my goodness.
he did not take a nasty roll off that kick off the tray, so he's still going to be in bounds. He's going to take his meter and drop in. But, man, this whole did not play easy for the field that day as Drew drops in his double bogey. I believe Emerson is going to be dropping in a bogey as well.
Yes, he will be. That'll be a 5 from Emerson.
And really, you know, from where Emerson was, the upshot that he kind of threw a little bit too far to the right, that's something that every player at his caliber should be able to get up and down from that distance. That's probably a mental lapse he's kicking himself for.
Yeah, definitely he was expecting to get up and down from that.
Absolutely. Chandler showing a little bit of frustration after, again, you know, throwing an upshot that got an unfortunate skip, but hole 6 has not been nice to a lot of players this week. Double bogey, 2 bogeys, and a par from Andrew, which is fantastic. And now we have a birdie hole coming up.
Yeah, that's right. So we've got some shakeup in the scores. Hole 7 is the second easiest hole on the course. And for me, I believe that if you throw a flippy backhand putter, it makes the gap as big as possible. There's Brian Earhart again. But sidearm's also a great play too. Sidearm makes the gap very big also. It's just a little bit more difficult to pin it. Most sidearms are going to end right where Andy is headed. Nice tree.
Unless you get kicked by the tree gods there.
That's going to be a great result. He's going to be 20 feet.
Chandler, I think, is throwing that TI force. I think he's going to go down the road.
You're kidding me. First time I've seen this. He hit it.
he had actually talked to me about this shot because this is my play with the lefty sidearm, and he hit the grass instead of the street, but the moment you hit the street, you're right inside circle one every time. So that's why he did it more as a percentage play.
Emerson, I think, is flicking his Explorer.
Wow. Which I think is better, especially if you're throwing a softer shot. You want the disc to land softer. So another fantastic kick off the tree.
I love seeing the forehand touch like that. Throwing a straight fairway driver is tough to do on a flick. Very nice shot from Drew, and those are just, the last group of trees to park it. But he's going to have no problem there. It's no more than 25 feet.
I think Chandler wants this.
He's got a good line at it. Give it to him.
Wow. Not surprised. Chandler, I'd say, is one of the best circle two putters I've ever seen. And as you can see, he's not even jumping or stepping that. He has a fantastic wrist and is able to spin the disc in the basket from that distance.
Yeah, very true. He does opt to step putt sometimes, right?
Sometimes. Kind of a weird hitch in that putting stroke there from Drew. Not sure if there was a wind gust that popped up.
I will say that is Drew's stroke, and he's done it like that for as long as I can remember.
Okay. After a nice tree kick, birdie coming in from Emerson. Drew's going to tap in his par.
Disappointed par. When you're in birdie position on this hole, you want to cash in. It's such an easy hole compared to all these other holes.
Oh, yeah, especially moving into hole number 8. I mean, taking the birdie like 3 of these players did feels really good because, we have one of the more daunting tee shots on the course coming up.
That's right, and for us, we were playing with a very strong left to right wind that we could not feel until we got to about here.
Yep.
So not too much affecting the disc really on the tee shot, other than you might even get more distance if you can flip it up through that gap and get it gliding. But nobody's going to be throwing the big hyzer is the main thing. That's the left to right wind is going to stop.
That's got a flip, and he nailed it.
It's a great shot.
Trusting that hyzer flip to turn angle with that gap is a fantastic shot.
It's tough, and I'm still dialing it in myself.
Chandler going with a hurricane, actually, and did not get on it. Threw it a little bit nose up.
Oh.
And that is oh, man.
Just enough forward
maybe the
progression.
opposite of an unfortunate kick.
Yep.
That is good positioning for at least a 4.
Yeah, it looked like if even that was clean, it might have still snuck in. There's so much room to the left. You can just hyzer through the gap even and still be in bounds up there with a straight shot.
And Emerson ropes it.
Yeah, a little low, not much distance there, but being safe will save you at least one stroke.
Absolutely. And Drew
needs some love, and there's
a
air.
lot of
there's
love.
a lot of air right there.
And he juices it. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
That is way up there, and he's definitely going to have a look at a birdie. Chandler taking advantage of the good kick, putting himself right outside, probably about 100 feet.
Yeah.
And a 4 again. This is one of the harder holes in the course, too, averaging .42 strokes above par.
Well, yeah, the danger on this upshot is extreme. There's OB that if Emerson goes clean, that's somewhere around that OB pond right there on the right side. And then you have the creek, or the river now, I should say, on the left side. Let's see what this is doing.
And he popped that forehand.
Nice overstability. What a shot.
That was fantastic.
That was so dangerous.
He even drifted it to the left towards the OB, which is that shows a lot of confidence in that sidearm.
That is a Firebird. That looks really straight. I hate to see that go.
That was kind of an unfortunate push off that tree that I think he clipped. Chandler going with just a putter. I think it's a challenger.
Chandler playing to the safe part of the green.
Mm-hmm.
Right there. That's a great upshot.
And a stress-free 4 in this is definitely sought after for sure.
Yes. The second you don't land inbounds on the tee shot, you're an immediate 5. There's hardly any getting up and down from the drop zone.
After a massive upshot, you could tell he was tempted to go for that birdie, and now he's scrambling for, I believe, a bogey. And that's the thing in this hole, you throw your tee shot, especially if you throw it far, no matter what, your second shot looks like to the green, you have to execute flawlessly, or else you are going to find yourself in a lot of trouble. And your birdie look turns into a bogey real quick. So Andrew, after that fantastic, I'm not sure exactly what he just showed us, but fantastic sidearm, he gets a nice tap-in 3, which I'm sure not too many of those were coming in that day.
For sure. There was plenty of wind involved, and knowing that green is just crucial. It helps you so much, knowing where you can land and where's no good.
The bridge hole on that day was extremely windy. We had a fierce headwind coming off that road back there, and it was making the shot to the green extremely difficult. And you really have to trust your tee shot here, swinging it nice and wide.
Yeah, height control is big time here. What do we have? What wind? Is this going to pick it up? Yes, it is. What a shot.
It felt like a strong head cross to the left, actually. So you want to go high to fight the crosswind and let it drift, but obviously throw something overstable enough to fight the headwind.
Beautiful. 2 beautiful shots right into the circle. Most people are aiming at that big bush right straight out of the bridge and just letting it get left. Emerson's going to like that too. It's going to be a little bit further from the basket than his card mates, but that's another step putt from Emerson. One of these is going to fall, I'm telling you.
And that to me is the optimal shot. Put it flat and right above the that bush in the middle. Obviously, the little bit of crosswind that headwind had picked it up and carried it a little bit, but I think he's about 25 from the bucket.
No problem. Emerson, slight right to left, needs to keep it basket high. Bingo. He glided it right in there.
And I think with his spin putt, with the headwind kind of coming off that way, I think it totally matches the way he putts.
Yeah, as long as he puts it on the correct line, it's going to be no problem for Emerson.
And another uncharacteristic putt from Drew. Sails it over the basket.
Yep, little high. Might have been that right to left wind.
Exactly.
That's tough wind to putt in.
Especially from the edge of circle 1. I mean, it's definitely not a gimme when you have a wind like that.
This is a completely different wind for him, and he cashes in. It's a good putt. Good comeback from Drew. 3 on this hole is fine, Usually, if you land OB on this tee shot, it's 4 at best, possible 5 if you don't get up and down. So taking a 3 is still just fine. Nothing wrong with that.
But another fantastic grouping of scores here. 3 birdies and a par. And again, we have a couple, 2 or 3 birdieable par 3s coming up. We have back 9 coverage coming soon, so make sure to tune in and make sure to also subscribe to Central Coast Disc Golf. And we'll come back at you with the back 9.